allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the August 5th meeting of the Delaware Water Gap Borough Council. I want to start off before we have public comment. I want to open with a little bit of gratitude.
You're welcome. I handed those things out for you.
Yeah. Thanks, Tammy. I would like to say with great appreciation, and it was definitely a class act, that our Cemetery Association put that lovely banner out to say thank you to the community, to let them know that where their money went and the contribution and the effort that it did to remove those trees. So thank you very much for taking care of it, but also for the banner that speaks to the community.
Well, can I say something too?
Yes,
Thank
go
other
ahead.
people? Because I want to thank the Mountain Tree Service and his crew, and Brandon Mueller and his crew.
Good job.
The Water Gap Village for allowing us to use their parking lot for half a day. Markey roll-off containers, El Markey and Son excavating. God, did I forget anybody? I mean, the tree guys did an awesome job.
They were amazing,
Phenomenal.
amazing.
It was a lot of work, and they figured,
14
you guys
trees.
figured it out, and that banner was definitely a class act and appreciative to let the community
Well, we
know
appreciate it too.
that you're grateful for the
And
contributions.
we have wood chips, Ian. We have ash, and we have maple, and we have walnut. Probably don't want the walnut though.
We'll have to let them hold it for a year or two.
Okay, but we have some for the shade tree, so
Yeah.
big piles.
Down at the dump,
And-
there's some that are very usable.
Okay.
The one stump of the one tree, I don't know if we have it on the cemetery page, I have to give it to Terry, but the one stump, 5,500 pounds just from one tree.
Wow.
That's what I forgot,
Yeah,
the crane operator.
The crane
right.
operator, yeah, they were amazing.
Well, thank you for all that, but I thought the notice to the community with the thanks was very much appreciated and a wonderful thing to do. And on another note, I'd also like to thank our mayor for all the great work. He has been juggling his schedule and attending meetings for months for the 6/11 opening. And he was the face and the voice of our concerns for that issue, that matter, and he put in the time for it, and I want to thank him for all the hard work in getting that done. Okay, with all that said, and again, thank you, Tammy. We will now have public comments for items that are on the agenda. Any public comments for items that are on the agenda? Yes.
So you're gonna go into executive session for the fire department on the
Yeah.
Chilling. We're all right.
Yeah. Oh, the chair.
Chair, oh my God.
Well, that was done.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just trying to be discreet and pick up my tab. The chair had other
You
plans.
did it quietly, it was fine.
Shit, I didn't even know it was happening.
And that one weird too.
Oh, we're good.
You sure?
Yeah, we'll find out.
You're gonna ask me about,
Yeah, you have the fire department LSA grant
yeah,
for executive session. I'm just curious, like, why can't the public hear what this has?
because there's some legal consult that we need to do.
Are you gonna give us an update on that, any of this?
We don't have an update now. We need to consult with some legal issues, so that's in executive session.
Okay, are you voting on anything tonight?
Nothing to vote on.
Okay. I mean, for any of the three things?
No,
Okay.
Is the schoolhouse going to come up?
that in executive session. So Duto is on there, but that will also be discussed in the executive session. Anything else for items on the agenda? If not, now we are going to hear from Mr. Aaron Lombard from Vector Control. He has some public service information for us.
Absolutely. Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Aaron Lombard. I work as the Vector Control Coordinator in Monroe County. A little bit about what my job is. It's to go around to the townships, boroughs, any public lands, and also any private property that I'm invited to go onto to check out and assess mosquito problems, to survey the populations, and to determine if West Nile virus is present within the county and within our mosquito populations. And it's also part of my job to educate the public about what I do and what we do about mosquitoes and how to keep our mosquito issues as minuscule as possible and ensure the health and safety of our residents. So the reason I am here tonight particularly is because Mayor Freshcorn invited me to come and speak with you all because we did find West Nile virus within the borough. It's within the mosquito population, and the mosquitoes that have West Nile virus, the species of mosquito that's most commonly carrying the virus and most commonly transmitting it, they are very closely associated with water treatment facilities. They like those stinky organic water, and they like places where there's not a lot of predators that will eat them, their babies. So they use water treatment facilities to breed in. We have a nice large water treatment facility here in Del Water Gap, and we've identified a population of mosquitoes with West Nile there. So just complete transparency about what we found and what we plan to do on it. So what we've been doing over the past few weeks is we've ramped up our surveillance in Del Water Gap. We've been going to a few different quarters of the borough and surrounding areas to determine how big this population of mosquitoes with West Nile is. And so far, we've only found it in the area at the water treatment facility and properties adjacent to it, or across the street. One thing I do want to say is West Nile virus, it is a serious thing, but it's not, just a very brief, I'll give you some statistics to kind of put it into perspective. Of 1 in 5 people that know they have West Nile virus show symptoms. So 4 out of 5 people won't have no symptoms whatsoever. The virus will run through their system, and within less than a week, they'll be back, good as new. They are finding that there are now a few long-term effects associated with both symptomatic and asymptomatic West Nile, so it's definitely something to keep in mind if you've ever had a West Nile virus infection, to understand that there might be issues that come down the road, similarly to what they've discovered with COVID. Not anything dire, nothing crazy, but it is just something that it's recently been found to pop back up a little bit. So out of 1 in 150 people that know they have West Nile virus develop severe symptoms. So that would include brain swelling, and it would require hospitalization. So that's 1 in 150 people. So very few people actually need to be hospitalized from it. Few people even know that they have it. 100 people in the United States die annually. That's a very small amount of people relative to, our annual deaths in the country. For Pennsylvania, so far in 2024, we've had 72 cases in the last 20 years, we've had 72 cases in Pennsylvania. 42 of those cases did turn to neuroinvasive. This was United States. 72 cases in 2024, 42 neuroinvasive, and 21 states so far reporting that they have West Nile virus in their states. Pennsylvania is now one of them. And as far as people being infected with West Nile virus in Pennsylvania, there's only two people in the state right now have gotten West Nile in the year 2024. They're out in Butler County and Allegheny County, so it's not here. But the fact of the matter is we have mosquitoes that do carry the virus. So the important thing is to exercise caution, wear bug spray, maybe avoid being out at this time of day or in the early mornings without bug spray. If you don't like spraying stuff on yourself, if you want to sit outside with a little motorized fan, electric fan, that's more than enough to keep the mosquitoes from buzzing around you and biting you. But the most important thing that I do want to say is, so like I said, the species of mosquito most associated with West Nile virus is very closely associated with water treatment facilities. But if you take into account your properties and the fact that you know, we have had a rainy year so far. We're gonna have a lot more rain over this next week. It's gonna be really, really important to take inventories of your properties. Look at anything that holds water. Make sure that it can be drained. If you need to drill holes and stuff, or overturn it periodically, change water in your bird baths. You know, keep an eye out for depressions in the lawn that usually fill up with water. Because the mosquito populations naturally boom around this time of year. We watch that curve steadily increasing, and then all of a sudden the virus pops up because the populations are large enough for us to detect the virus within the populations. This happens every year. This is nothing new. It's happened last year, it's happened the year before, it's happened the year before. So importantly, what I want to say is personal responsibility. Everyone should take responsibility for their properties. Make sure you're not breeding mosquitoes on your property. And you know, that way we can best ensure the safety of our neighbors. So I did bring a few pamphlets and cards and you know, some informational stuff that I will leave with the council, and they can set aside or hand out or put in the racks for anybody that wants to take it. And I want to encourage anybody to give us a call if you have a mosquito problem at your house. If you suspect that there's something within the borough that is breeding mosquitoes, I'll come and check it out, and I'll treat. And if it's a person of, like, if it's somebody that's hard to deal with in the sense like you can't get them to maintain their property, I can work with the state and the borough to try and get these properties cleaned up. And if you know, just feel free to reach out to us. I have our phone number on these cards. We're right over in Stroudsburg. We also do work in Pike and Wayne County, so we do have a lot of land that we cover. But I love Delwater Gap. You know, it's a beautiful little borough, and it's close to my home. So like, I would love to spend time here, trying to figure out your mosquito issues. So please give me an excuse to spend more time in Delwater Gap.
Mountain Road.
Mountain Road.
Up by the lake.
Up by the
Great
lake.
Owls? Up by you.
Yeah.
It's bad, it's way bad. I mean, maybe not West Nile. But
No,
a lot of mosquitoes up there.
And that's, West Nile is not the only thing we're concerned about. We are absolutely, we take very serious nuisance mosquitoes. So there are species of mosquitoes that are very infrequently associated with West Nile, but they love biting people. We'll come out and we'll work with you with those too. West Nile is not the end all be all of our program. We're here.
Unfortunately, there's a swamp across the street.
Yeah. So yeah, Mountain Road.
The depression in that parking lot
Yeah.
is holding water.
Water,
All
yeah.
rain, it will be
Okay.
puddles of pools of water at the trail, to the Appalachian Trail.
Okay.
The parking lot there is gravel and it's really bad shape, and it's got really deep depressions in it.
Okay.
I think that would be a great.
Yeah, I would love to go. Like my partner is working in Monroe. I'm up in Pike this week, so I'll be spending most of my time up there. But my partner is really good at investigating those habitat. I'll give him a heads up, and maybe he can come out tomorrow and see.
You wanted an excuse to be in water gaps.
I know. Unfortunately, because we're spread across the 3 counties,
Yeah.
you know, I do have to spend some time in Pike and Wayne as well.
We'll call you next week.
But yeah, so I would definitely pass that information off, so you have someone come and look at it this week. We also, on our county website, on monroecounty.gov, pa.gov, if you just type in monroecounty.gov, it goes to New York. So make sure you put that PA in there. We have a mosquito complaint form, and on the mosquito complaint form, it's a map. You can zoom in as much as you want on that map and place that pin in that exact location where that mosquito problem is. So even if it's like a planter or a pot on the side of a building, you know, you can kind of get in as close as possible, write a little description about what the issue is and the contact information, and we'll reach out and we'll go and investigate that.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
We
Yes.
appreciate it.
What have you done at this sort of treatment plant?
So that is the other. We have other water treatment facilities in different types of surrounding environments that we have treated with the spray so far this year. The reason why we like to take. We spray when the risk of not spraying outweighs the risk of spraying. So typically, if you have a water treatment facility that's very close to a nursing home, a daycare, One thing I will say about West Nile virus, elderly folks, infants, children, and immunocompromised people are the ones that typically do become symptomatic and do develop those neuroinvasive disorders. So we do take into account where these facilities are, and if they are near a nursing home, that's going to be a much faster
What's the risk?
criteria.
What you said, you're weighing the risks. What's the risk of spraying?
So yeah, pesticides kill insects, and we have beneficial insects. We have pollinators. We also have protected insects. We also have good predators. Something I've noted at the water treatment facility is there are a lot of bees in the surrounding foliage. There are a lot of non-invasive moths and butterflies, as well as praying mantises. So I personally would not jump to spraying that
It's
area.
not a nuclear option.
Yeah. But yeah, so I would prefer not to have to spray around that facility, or, I work directly under the advisory of the DEP. I run pretty much everything I do by the DEP, and we come together with solutions. So also, this is a big reason why I'm here is I do want complete transparency with folks in the borough, and I don't want. You're discussing how the lining up on the streets with the sprayers and dumping chemicals out of the airplane.
Yeah, when I was
That's
there.
not what our program does. We do get a lot of phone calls from other. A lot of people were calling about the black fly sprayings and the spongy moth sprayings, which aren't us. We're only feet on the ground, truck on the ground, looking for mosquitoes and ticks, typically. So we've done 2 sprays this year so far, and they were both around nursing homes. So right now we are in this monitoring phase, but also this public education phase, where I just want to let you know that there are viruses in the environment. They've existed with us for a very, very long time. The species of mosquito that passes West Nile most often typically feeds on birds. They actually don't prefer humans, but they will bite humans when there aren't birds around for them.
Can you
to bite.
tell by looking at them? Are they a specific type? You can differentiate it from an ordinary mosquito?
Well, so yes, it's not that they have West Nile, but you can tell the species that. Actually, I'm so sorry. I was kind of just talking and not leaning back on my materials. So, yes, these are Culex species mosquitoes are the ones that most associated with West Nile
I see.
virus.
They have a specific look.
Yes, they do. But and even with that, even within that genera of mosquitoes, they do have diversity as well. So they might not all look exactly like that one. But so the ones in the middle, the black and white ones, are the ones that really like biting humans. They don't typically pass on West Nile virus, but they can. But those are the ones that you're gonna feel biting you during the daytime. They're the ones that are gonna be chasing you down. That just it highlights the diversity of mosquitoes. Also, something I do want to say about mosquitoes is not all mosquitoes are bad. Male mosquitoes are actually beneficial pollinators. They actually do feed on pollen and nectar, and they kind of do help to fill in those gaps where our declining pollinators have.
I just have a question. Did you say there was 72 cases of West Nile, in which 42 of them became neuroinvasive?
I think I wrote down
That's
shoddy
a pretty,
information.
that's a
No.
pretty high percentage.
It's-
To
I
me
think-
not to worry.
I'm thinking what it is it's 72 cases of asymptomatic, 42 cases of neuroinvasive, and then 21 states reporting. I can also clear that information up very quickly back
Well,
in my
just
office.
wondering what the total, was that the total number 150 then? Is that what you're saying? 42 of the 150 are
I'm assuming-
neuroinvasive.
I'm assuming that's probably, I can, like I said,
That's
I
pretty
can.
substantial.
No,
You
no.
probably don't have the exact number because of asymptomatic.
Yes,
People that are
that's-
asymptomatic, the numbers are
Right.
gonna be way higher.
So a lot of people, they will go to the hospital or maybe they might get most of the people, a lot of people that find out they have West Nile virus, they didn't find out because they got tested for,
It sounds like COVID.
exactly. And that's why it's kind of this it's very rare that we find somebody that gets sick with West Nile virus. We have not had one this year so far. We have not had one last year. I started this position last year. We have not had a case in Monroe County, Pike County, or Wayne County since I started. And looking back at the historical data, it's been quite a while since we have. Where we did get a case of West Nile virus was at that water treatment facility at the nursing home that I just treated. So that's why we treated there, is because historically we've had people there that got West Nile virus. Yes, sir.
How much longer are you going to be monitoring? And are you like always monitoring it, or is it like till first frost or something?
Yeah. So basically, it's not till first frost. We'll probably wait until we start getting temperatures that are consistently below 50 degrees. So around October, mid-October is when DEP kind of says, hey, you know, you spent enough of the money this year, like reel it back. So mid-October last year is when we stopped. And then around that time of year, I pick up heavily doing ticks. So I go out to all the parks and state parks and state game lands, and I drag for ticks, and we start doing the same thing that we do now, but with Lyme disease, which we are doing now as well, but it kind of takes a second to the West Nile at this time.
Ticks
So
are
how's
bad
Lyme
here.
disease?
Ticks are bad.
I've gotten Lyme 4 times.
Oh my God.
How is Lyme, how is Lyme doing in the Poconos right now? Is it a big problem? or-
Well, so I don't know about the Poconos like, of the ticks that I've collected, and me and my partner have collected, and we've sent in for disease testing. We've gotten a few hits on anaplasmosis.
That's worse
It's a bacterial infection that I've heard people that have gotten it and they've gotten very sick, but also it's a bacteria that is so commonly associated with the ticks that, like, most ticks actually do have that bacteria inside of them. It's just a matter of if you're gonna get infected with, you know, are they gonna spit back up their germs into you when they bite you? You know, Pennsylvania is number 2 in the country for Lyme disease. We do have an exuberant tick population here. What I've noticed, and you know, this could be my sampling bias because my head is very much on this West Nile and mosquito surveillance. I spend about 4 to 8 hours a week doing tick surveillance as well. I've not been finding as many ticks as I usually find, and we have not gotten a Lyme disease positive yet on those ticks. You know, that is a big part of what we do as well, and I did bring, you know, just to kind of cover all the bases, I brought a few cards about managing properties for ticks. And this is a little bit harder than mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are really easy. Dump out your water. You know, the tick thing, you know, requires making buffer zones, putting mulch between but it gives some ideas on what you can do to protect kids from getting ticks or your animals from getting ticks. Unfortunately, we don't do any type of control for ticks at the county level. So we don't use any type of chemical out in the parks to control the ticks. We kind of just go out with our cloths and collect them, try to take as many of them out of the habitat as possible. So, you know, I would be hopeful that we could do a little bit more with tick control, but again, I prefer not to just pump chemicals into the environment. So if we can do it without the chemicals, I prefer. But if we are finding, you know, so right now the ticks are nymphs mostly, except for black-legged ticks. They're mostly nymphs. They're very, very tiny. They can be very hard to see. They bite you, and then by the time they get enough, they drop off of you before you even realize they're on you. Starting in fall, we will start doing a lot more education about adult ticks. We'll start, you know, maybe coming out to the boroughs and discussing Lyme disease and precautions about ticks. We will be at the West End Fair down in
Gilbert.
Eldred, so we'll be doing a little booth out there. We'll have some like live samples to look at. We'll show like some of the vessels that might be, or objects that hold water that are breeding the mosquitoes and how to identify them. We'll also do some workshops on ticks out there as well. So if anyone else is interested in popping out there and learning more about this stuff.
So, one of the reasons I wanted Aaron to come out is because when everybody hears, oh my God, West Nile, there's a pandemic or, you know, an epidemic in Delaware Water Gap, I want to make sure that we're not in any real danger. It's just, we just happen to turn up a small sample of West Nile, and he's the best person to explain that to you. So, the information he's brought is great. He also emailed me some more stuff which I can get out and get printed to everybody. So just to understand, we're not in any super danger, but he gives some great advice about how to make sure we don't have any standing water anywhere, we don't have any treating it, or, and, you know, we can keep as much of that at bay as possible.
Yeah.
Good, thank you so
Thank
much.
you for coming.
Are there any other reservoirs other than birds for the West Nile?
So no, West Nile virus, it is, it's not even all birds. It's mostly our corvids and like jays as well as raptors. And a few other, like robins will get it, and a few of our other common commensal birds. But yes, the cells of birds are the only thing that can actually replicate the virus. So everyone else that catches this virus, we're dead ends. So I can't pass on West Nile to you. A mosquito can pick up West Nile from me and pass it on to you. It's only coming from bird to bird to bird to bird, mosquito to bird, and then every once in a while, they don't have a nice bird to feed on, they bite somebody, or maybe, maybe you're in the wrong place in the wrong time, and you get a lot of bites, and that's typically how it is. I think a lot of this, this is important for caretakers. You know, obviously, if you take care of elderly people, make sure you're using screens. You're not leaving them outside for prolonged periods of time where they're exposed. Same thing with children. And that's we just want to protect the most vulnerable people in our community. Most of us, like Mr. Fishborn said, like Mayor Fishborn, we are really not at high risk, but we, as the active people in the borough, can make the difference of making sure it doesn't spread further by just simple measures of being aware and dumping water out. And giving me a call if you have any, like with like obviously geographical issues. If it's a large divot, there's nothing you can't drain it, dump it. You know, I'll come out and I'll
We can
treat
ask the
it.
Park Service to fill it in.
Yeah. I mean, you can do that. Yeah. But anything that you can't dump, can't drain, I'll come out and I'll treat it, and I'll take note of it and I'll pass the information to my partner. We'll know to come out, especially because having found it, we're going to be more vigilant. So.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much, and we appreciate that information so that we can follow up with it.
Absolutely, thank you. Yeah, so I'll leave these up here.
Thank
You're the
you.
ticks and mosquitoes guy.
Yeah, I am. And
Our favorite insects.
Some over at the table where the.
Maybe put him on the table so that folks can grab
Yeah,
it.
we can grab it. Thank you again for
Absolutely, thank you so much.
educating us and making this contact.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we will go on. First, we will start with the treasurer's report. I will need, if everyone has reviewed, a motion to approve the treasurer's report and pay the bills.
I can vote that. I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Now we need a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes for July 1st, 2024.
I'll make the motion to approve those minutes from July 1, 2024.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Now we need a motion to ratify the vote for spraying the building for ants, and this was Sites Brothers Pest Control in the amount of $350. We had a major ant infestation. We got a few quotes, and Sites came in and did it for $350, which was half of one of the other quotes. Do I get a motion to ratify that vote for spraying?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. I need a motion to ratify the vote for Maple Shade Painting to power wash the building and walkways in the amount of $320. $25. We got a refresh, we're all fresh and clean now. Can I get a motion? Can I get a second?
I'll second. Ian seconds.
Ian second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
That was a really good price, by the way.
Yeah.
When I saw that price, I thought about, instead of doing it myself, hiring him.
It sounds like it was a good price, the whole building, yeah.
Yeah, no, it
And
was.
sidewalks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do we have a mayor's report? Mayor, you're on.
So, everybody's heard the great news, 611, looks like a 2-lane opening. At the last time I think I spoke, it was, the options were a single lane opening, one direction. When PennDOT called me in between meetings and asked for a team meeting between myself and Mayor Fisher, they presented us with a second option, which was a second lane opening. So the single lane opening was gonna be the Jersey barriers down the middle of 611, and in certain areas where there are a lot of concern with stone falling off the mountain, they would be putting up this, it's like a heavy duty chain link, really heavy duty chain link fence that would sit on top of those Jersey barriers and would stop any, like, they're concerned with the energy created them coming off the mountain and actually bouncing over into the road. When they presented the second option, of course, Mayor Fisher and I pushed really hard for the second option because the road has been closed way too long. And a single lane opening would only mean one direction and probably coming this way. So, we pushed awful hard at the next meeting to use the 2-lane opening. It will be 2 lanes until you get probably halfway in between here and Portland. It will switch over to a single lane, there'll be a traffic light there, and then back to 2 lanes again. The reason for that in that particular area is one of the most major concerns of PennDOT with rock and debris falling off the side. So, they want that extra lane buffer. At the last meeting, a few days ago, Allison has been attending each one of these meetings with me. Obviously everybody's asking a date, when. Chris Gufro called me from PennDOT, he said, looks like about 10 weeks. We're telling people at the meeting's 8 to 10, but we're gonna need at least 10 weeks, because they gotta bring equipment. There's a contractor that puts up the metal fencing, and they have to dig a trench to power the traffic light. That was the biggest problem out of all, because as soon as PennDOT said we gotta dig a trench, the Park Service steps in and says, you can't dig without us testing the soil because there could be artifacts
Under the road.
So, at that particular meeting, everybody left, they were quite irritated. But it was decided between PennDOT and the Park Service that what they would do was set up monitors and dig the trench at the same time instead of going through and doing 190 test holes looking for, that was the option, 190 test holes looking for artifacts. So they will have monitors from the tribes, they'll have monitors from the Park Service, monitors from PennDOT as they dig that trench. The trench comes from Portland this direction to hook up the lights. So we're looking at probably mid-October. I don't like to give dates because I might go to the next meeting and something else. But as long as they don't find any artifacts, it looks like probably mid-October we'll have a 2-lane opening going through.
And Larry, this is still a temporary fix, right?
As a temporary fix, this is just to get the lane open, just to provide relief, not only between Water Gap and Portland, but Stroudsburg, Mount Bethel, up to Mount Bethel, who are all dealing with the detours and all this other stuff.
Because they're still talking environmental impact studies a couple of years down the road.
It takes so long to complete those environmental impact studies and get those permits signed. And it was just at those meetings, we were saying, we can't wait years and years and years. We need relief. So relief is just to get the lane open. They still want to scale the side of the mountain. They still want to do a bunch of other things. But when you go to the meetings, you can see that this stuff's going to take years. So at least with the lane opening, that provides some relief. There probably will be some shutdowns here and there where they have to do some certain work. But the main gist of this entire thing is relief. We're gonna finally see some relief. We're gonna finally see some relief on this. The second issue that I brought up with PennDOT, is trucks. Trucks are not allowed through that way. You'll see that there's a sign across from my house that says 108 inches, you can't go through, and right at the traffic light. I also worked really hard with Senator Brown about putting one up on the other end, so it's a violation coming both ways, and trucks should know that. But, I mean, we've had trucks with everything shut down, still try to go through there. So I'm dealing with PennDOT on some more signage, some clear, plain signage. Probably a lot of people won't read, but it'll be right up here by the detour. No trucks going through there. The problem with that is it's narrow. And now with the Jersey barriers on the mountainside, it's gonna be even more narrow. So we're trying to push awful hard to try to figure that out. If we have police on duty, that is a violation. We can write a ticket on that. Talking with Mayor Fisher in Portland, same thing, but she has the same problem we're having, is trying to find officers. So we don't always gonna have that coverage. That's the good news. The good news is we got 2 lanes. Barring any issues, we're looking at mid-October, and we're gonna finally see some relief for our businesses and residents.
Quick question about the trenching. Why couldn't you just, put a pole in at each side, run it down on the riverside, just run it along the cliff there? Why do you have to trench the river?
And that was brought up, and it falls under the same thing. You can't, they don't want any digging at all, whether it's a trench or a pole.
Oh, you can't just stick a pole in?
And everything's gotta go through the Park Service, and the Park Service has to provide a permit. So it's, now you see what what I have to deal with at these meetings. It's really crazy. But PennDOT would rather trench than put in a pole. And they said it's actually much easier. I didn't think it would be, but it actually is much easier. So any questions on that?
You had a question?
Yes, sir.
Why can't we get the Park Service to write tickets there? That, a lot of their area, they should be handling that, not the 2 boroughs.
I mentioned that, the problem with the Park Service, they have the same issue that we did. I mean, they have a very small amount of people to monitor the entire park system. And when I say small, it's very, very small.
Maybe we
If
should
they're
get
in the area, they will do that. I'm also gonna be reaching out to the state police.
I was just gonna suggest that.
They won't sit around and monitor, but if somebody's bored and they wanna come down and see what's going on, they may pull somebody over, we'll see. But I'm gonna try to work with, the Park Service.
And you're absolutely right with the trucks still trying to get down
They're
there.
still trying
I saw a
to-
flatbed backing down from the first overlook.
So we get to a point where it goes into a single lane. They may end up shutting down the entire road because the truck can't get through. It's gonna be quite narrow.
I can't tell you how many trucks I actually let go through the gates just to get them the hell off Oak Street.
Right.
And we appreciate that.
I'm sure you do.
We do.
We also had, a promise from Mr. Kufro that once the work, whenever it is completed, that they would come back and do some repairs to our roadway that's been damaged from the trucks that have dug up and damaged our roadway, so, but we have to get to the end of that line for that to happen, so.
Any other questions? Just to reiterate what our president said about the trees at Delaware Water Gap Cemetery, as you know, I wear a couple different hats, so I'm being on the cemetery committee. We wanna thank the Borough of Delaware Water Gap, we wanna thank Borough Council of Delaware Water Gap for helping us out with a huge problem that we would have never been able to raise that kind of money for. It was quite a spectacle to watch these guys using a crane and cutting a tree at the bottom. Just craning the entire tree over and laying it down to cut it off. Talking to the crane operator, some of those trees were 6,000, 6,500 pounds. I mean, it was quite a thing to watch. So we really want to appreciate it. It's cleaned up quite nicely. Tim has spent a lot of time back there. All the trees, stumps, everything's gone. It looks actually really nice. So thank you again to the taxpayer of Delaware Water Gap, and thank you again to the Borough of Delaware Water Gap.
Thanks everybody for chipping in for all that we do here. Superintendent's report, you gave us a report, Mr. Darlington, do you have anything that you want to discuss, anything to add on that?
Nothing to add.
Well, thank you so much for all this, it's been a lot, thanks.
Wait, I have a question. There were still 4 big piles of brush and sticks up at the park from when Tim did it. Is that ever gonna be removed?
Well, he's got quite a list of stuff he's been doing. It will,
Well, I'm just worried with the mosquitoes now after that whole thing. It's
Oh, now
been
you worry about
raining.
mosquitoes.
Now I'm real worried. I don't want Lyme's disease. I don't want
itchy.
West Niles.
we'll try and get to that as soon as we can.
All right, it's been like 2 months, that's why I'm asking.
We'll get to it. Police report, Chief Fisher left a report, anything?
I can go down through it if you want, if not, if you
No.
have any questions.
No fire department, no emergency management. Engineer, Missy is away. She submitted the grant for the, Allison, correct me, is it ECED multimodal?
Yes.
Okay.
For the Mountain Road project, we resubmitted it. And instead of annoying you all and soliciting new letters for grant that we applied for over and over and over again, I actually took all the letters from all the years that we've been applying for it and all the different various grants, and I wrote a letter, a cover letter to say, these are letters that have been submitted. We have tried to get this project done for so many years. And it goes back to even Senator Scavello. I put all those letters together for us to submit them, for them to see. Not only are people in favor of it, but we've been trying for so long. So that's been submitted, and thank Missy and her company for helping us out with that as always. Zoning officer, building inspector's report, we have nothing there. Solicitor's report?
Nothing that won't be discussed at other points in time.
Okay, so now we're on to new business. We have some appointments to make for the zoning hearing board. And the first one will be a motion to reappoint Michael
Caspic.
Caspic.
And it looks nothing like how it's spelled.
No, it doesn't. As our zoning hearing board solicitor. Do I have a motion to reappoint?
He's a great guy.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you, motion carries. The next motion is to reappoint Carol Pina as the chair of the zoning hearing board. It's a 3-year term. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion. Oh, Bill's got it.
Bill makes the motion. Derek, are you gonna second?
Yep, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, any opposed? Motion carries. Next motion is to reappoint Frank Davis to the zoning hearing board, 3-year term.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Can I make a clarification? Sorry. It's really just appointing Carol and Frank, reappointing Carol and Frank. The zoning hearing board themselves should organize and choose their chair.
Okay, so it's
Oh,
reappointing her.
okay.
Pardon?
Does that make sense? Yep.
Yes, understood. Okay, so she's
Okay, so I'll take
reappointed
that out.
as a member,
Yeah.
and
okay.
they will appoint the assign the chair.
I mean, she'll probably end up being chair again,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
just,
Okay,
okay.
thank you.
If they have a hearing.
They do. We have one,
Oh,
that's
do
why
you?
it's coming up.
Yeah. Motion to
There you
appoint Nefertiti Campbell to the zoning hearing board.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
There is a zoning hearing board hearing scheduled for
Thursday.
Thursday.
What's the nature?
It was appealed to a sign permit issued.
permit.
A fence permit.
Fence permit.
For Watergate Country Club, or,
Marshall.
Yeah.
yeah.
We know what you mean.
Gotcha.
Wellness.
Next motion.
Whatever that is back now.
I need a motion for our police chief to purchase a rifle mount for the Crown Victoria police car. The cost is approximately $795. He also wants to replace the phone, PA microphone system for $75 and add emergency graphics to the vehicle. A total cost of approximately $870. As you'll notice, the police chief is using that vehicle regularly, and he just wants to make these upgrades, and the funding is in the police funds. Do I have a motion?
Move that.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed to this? Motion carries. Motion to renew the contract for RCAP, which is the digital mapping that we use for our water system, in the amount of $800, is to renew it. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Motion to accept $5. Woo!
I could move that.
So where are we gonna put that $5? Is that going in general fund, or what are you gonna do with that $5, Wayne? $5 for the sale of the Dogwood Drive water storage tank. Thank you, Wayne, for taking care of this and getting this bid done.
So I have a question on
Credit
that.
goes to
Yes.
Allison.
Wayne, is this, so someone actually put a bid in for $5 for this
There were
tank?
5 bids.
Yes.
There were 5 bids.
5 bids.
5 bids and that was the highest.
Leading
up to the $5.
So is this, would this be so that means someone could go up there and start excavating?
They have to, it's 6 months, and we'll need to talk to them before they do. I spoke to the gentleman who purchased it.
And they would have to be insured? and-
Disassemble, yeah, we have
Okay.
to make sure that all the insurance was in place, and they were coming to
Okay.
disassemble it.
Okay,
So I'm not sure how that looks yet, but.
yeah.
Can I get a motion to accept that bid?
I could move that.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone got a problem with that $5 for that tank? Motion passes, the tank will be gone, I'm gonna miss it. Okay, now we're on to old business, 4 Shepherd Court, any update on that?
It's just a.
Just a
that's
hearing in
reference to the
October.
hearing, for the assessment of fees.
The Gulf Station Inlet, I don't think there's any update, I believe we discussed an alternative with the type of, metal plating that they could put on it, they're looking into that, so no update. Stormwater Management Ordinance, any update? Cherry Valley Road Water Line Project, any update?
We've ordered the appraisals through 3 properties we're still looking for. I have gotten an update from McEwen on the status of those appraisals, and I have been in contact with Smithfield Township regarding the resolution they have to pass. The solicitor was fine with the resolution that we provided. Council, their Board of Supervisors had some questions. I answered those, and one of the supervisors reached out to one of the homeowners, and we may be able to get him to sign something without having to proceed with that communication, so.
Thank you so much. Duto will be discussing executive session, firehouse renovations, no update at this moment. Parking ticket increase, Mayor, is there any progress on that, or are you waiting
Chief's
for?
still working on it, yeah.
I'm still working on it, okay. Committee reports, water.
I have some questions for Deb. Deb, I'm not sure if this, I think I can ask, our current water ordinance is ordinance number 302. And one of the things that we've been asked to do is update our EDU value. I think that was done originally by Dave Williamson.
I think it's in ordinance, correct?
No, not, the numbers are, but the calculations are not. And what I understand from Missy, it's not something that we can do an inflation calculator on. It's gotta be based on raw data. From Missy, I was told that the original EDU value was, or what was passed in 2012 was put together by Dave Williamson. I looked up the office of Stanley Lewis and Williamson.
That's the firm we took over.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's a
so-
firm you guys took over. Would you guys have?
We might, I can look to see, we do have some files, and
Yeah.
so I can see if we've kept that.
So I have the data on the values of the EDUs and what it includes, but according to Missy, it's gotta be based on calculations, and I don't know what those calculations
Okay.
are. So I actually called your office today, actually called Scanlon, Lewis and Williamson.
Same number.
Right, and I went to your office, so, and then Bill mentioned maybe get a hold of Todd Weissman, because I guess Todd was on.
Well,
board.
Todd and I are partners, so.
Right, so I'm not, I have no idea. Now, and just so you know,
But
I
he's
did
the
talk to
man.
Missy, because this was put together by Bouchard James, and I guess that data is no longer available, because it, that.
Can you send me the ordinance?
Pardon?
I'll send it, ask her to send me the ordinance.
Yeah, the ordinance just has the final.
And that's
EDU
from
value.
2012?
Yes,
Okay.
ordinance number 302. One other question concerning the Landlord-Tenant Act. This was brought to me by Craig LeBar. I guess the main gist of the Landlord-Tenant Act is that tenants can assume payments of utilities, and then that amount would in turn be removed from the rent checks, and they are protected in that regard. The one thing that I looked over the act and I couldn't find any reference to was say you have 4 tenants and you only get a partial payment, say only 2 of them pay what they consider their portion of the water utility. Is it up to the borough at that point to say whether or not, because I was told by Craig, it's up to us to determine if a partial payment would be enough to, prevent the shut off of the utility. I did talk to Easton, but I didn't talk to them in that regard. And that's what I was wondering. And if indeed it would be required, if there would be a decision for the council to make, would that have to be incorporated into the ordinance?
I don't think it would need to be incorporated into the ordinance. I think it'd be more of a policy.
Okay.
I mean, I think right now you guys make judgment calls already as to when
Yeah.
you shut people off and when you don't shut people off.
Right.
But I'd have to look into it, see if there's any cases or any guidance about the partial payment.
Yeah, when I looked at the Landlord-Tenant Act, there was no reference at all. All it talked about was protecting.
Right, but there might have been cases or something that
Oh,
interpreted the
okay.
sections that might give me some more information
Okay,
about that.
that's it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. Budget and Finance Committee had a meeting last month, and our next meeting is on, when is our next meeting? On the 10th. 12th. 13th of August. 13th of August, nothing to report. Personnel, nothing to report. Sanitation, anything to report? No. Roads and building maintenance,
Do we have a sanitation committee, by the way?
Yeah, Jeff.
Oh, was that newly appointed?
Yeah.
Okay, we weren't
You
aware of
You
that.
refused to be on it when I was trying to find someone.
Yeah, because I refused to work with Jamie, I told you that.
No, that was lately, I asked you
Well,
about
I don't know that
sanitation,
he
you said no.
resigned from that, he resigned from
Do you wanna be on
council.
sanitation?
No.
Thank you. Okay.
All that?
Roads and building maintenance, as we told you before, we did the spraying for the ants and the building's been power washed. Parks and Rec, we will try as soon as we can to get that brush that's left over removed. Nothing else to report. Special projects, grant has been submitted, once again, to try and get the Mountain Road project going. Economic development, is there anyone here from economic development? No, nothing to report. Friends of Delaware Water Gap, you're on. Anything?
I'm working on a few things. I don't really wanna say anything because I'm not really quite sure if it's gonna happen,
You're
so.
very vague. But
Some
nothing
fall
to-
things,
nothing
nothing
to
really to
report,
report
ma'am.
yet. Just working on a few things, possibly coming fall. I don't wanna say anything, cause if it falls through, then it's
It
on
won't
my
fall through.
back, so.
But we
yeah.
appreciate the work, thank you.
No problem.
Shade Tree Committee, anything to report?
Yeah, we got a grant for 10 trees for this fall.
Good for you, right?
Yay.
Yay.
They'll probably be digging the trees the first week in November, delivering them, actually we have to go out and pick them up. And they'll probably be the second week in November, so we'll probably do the tree planting on the Saturday. Probably the second week in November, but it really depends on when they dig the trees out.
Where are they going?
We've got 10 spots.
10 spots.
I'll pick that.
No permits needed?
No
Permits,
permits.
well, you gotta have a permit with the shade tree.
Yes,
gotta fill out
I've
2
got-
forms.
I've got 8 signed permits and 2 verbals.
You get a new folder for that, okay.
What type of trees?
All sorts, actually. We're gonna try putting in 2 elms, we're gonna put in, some tulip poplars, Hackberry, Swamp White Oak. We're getting some big trees.
Where are you gonna plant them?
Multiple spots. We'll talk about it tomorrow
Alright.
night. 6 o'clock meeting tomorrow.
Okay,
Yep.
And
cause they're
I'll-
huge, man, those
I'm
trees
getting
are
you
huge.
a copy
Yeah.
of the ordinance for work session.
Okay, thank you. Open spaces and trails, Sue is not here, nothing
No.
to report? You haven't heard anything from open spaces and trails? No.
I think the most recent meeting got canceled. I think I saw that this morning.
Planning commission, anything to report? Zoning hearing, we know there will be one on Thursday. COG, anything new?
Yeah, actually, it was an interesting meeting. Our state representative, Tara Cruz, was there. And discussion on Route 611 came up. And, she had some interesting comments. She said that, in her opinion, the whole delay has been PennDOT.
She said that.
And she also said that, as far as she was concerned, they had no intention of doing anything till 2025.
Well, our mayor attended all those meetings. Allison attended them with them. I attended a couple of them, and I never heard anything that would validate those statements.
Don't shoot the messenger.
I think the person that you should listen to is the mayor who
Oh,
was there in the
absolutely.
meeting advocating.
No,
And I actually saw some things on Facebook, and none of that stuff on social media,
No.
very little of it was correct.
Yeah,
And they were people that were not in the meetings.
yes.
And someone made a statement, and I was actually trying to keep them from bashing PennDOT because I wanted them to do what they had to do without the negativity around it. Let's get it done. And they said, no, because so-and-so said such and such. And I said, listen, I've attended at least a few of the meetings.
Yeah.
And our mayor is representing that's not correct. So don't believe everything you see on
So
social
her
media.
staffer wrote the Facebook thing?
Huh?
Did her staffer write the Facebook thing?
I don't know who's writing it, but I know that our mayor would come out of the meeting and the information that came out of that meeting, it would be something totally different on social media, so.
Plus
Absolutely.
Allison keeps the meeting notes, so that's why she's there with you.
Well, we
The
trust
project
Allison
will
more than
continue,
Tara.
Wayne. The project's gonna continue for years, so, I
Yeah.
mean, 2027 is when they plan on working on the wall, and there's no permitting for that. My personal opinion is it's not all PennDOT. I mean, PennDOT came out with their
Parks
first proposal,
Department.
which was quite a big proposal, taking, what was it, 250, so many tons of rock off the side of the mountain. They cut that in half because the Park Service wasn't happy with that. When they cut that in half, the Park Service wasn't happy with the next deal, and the Park Service wasn't happy with the next deal. And then they throw each other under the bus.
Yeah.
If we get too desperate, do you know Mike Dwyer from Middle Smithfield?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mike said if we want to open the road on our own, they'll supply the equipment and the manpower.
I could see Mike doing
Thank
that
you.
too.
Oh, so you guys gonna go old school on them, right? Just come out, somebody riding down the road. Every time I go through, Round Lake Mincy, I get behind a tractor and I can't get from behind it, so you guys are gonna go old school on that. Okay, so now we have an opening for public comments for non-agenda items. If you got any other beefs, griefs, except for, yes, ma'am.
Except for who?
I just want to put this on the record. So, not all of you were privy or on council at the time where the fire department, Delaware Water Gap Fire Department, so desperately needed air packs. Oh my God, we're gonna die, we need air packs. So we worked out a deal with Pocono, and they were willing to sell the air packs to Delaware Water Gap Fire Department, $200 a piece. In which the then president, who won't even say his name, proceeded to say, we don't want their trash or their garbage. Well, those went up for municipal, and they sold for $1,500 an air pack, I believe 10 of them? 10 sold, I think? I believe it was at least 10 of them that sold, for $1,500 a piece. Yet we used taxpayer money to give the fire department an additional $20,000 for those air packs that we could have gotten for $2,000. I'm just putting it out there, that we need to be a little bit more diligent, and thankfully with you, Lisa, you don't ram things through like the last president, but $1,500 each for 10 of them. And they were willing for $200 to give them to the fire department. So now we're 20,000 lighter in our budget for all tax-paying citizens for absolutely no reason. So I just want that to be put on the record.
And the
Hence why I tape the meetings.
We got
And the department that took those air packs made the price. They're the ones who came up with $1,500 a piece.
yes.
I know this is near and dear to your heart too, but,
Which one?
the banners, I know you had a fit when someone ordered them
Oh, and we paid
at
for them.
the tune of $600.
Yeah.
Can they be removed?
Take them down.
Yeah.
Well, they'll be removed when the
Well, you
No.
have people they have signs right here, their own signs right here.
I agree with them being removed because the signs behind them were
Yeah,
paid for
people
by
pay
the
for them.
businesses
Right.
that
Correct.
put them up.
And they're
What I
ill-worded
would-
anyway.
What I would do is suggest, give it a little more time and then take them down. I'd also suggest that the Economic Development Committee, which handles those kind of things, be consulted with as well, because that's kind of how it got channeled through. So,
Well,
not
that
leaving-
sign is ridiculous right here on a billboard that's actually very classy with all the.
And it's
signs.
covering up every business in
that
town, which makes no
billboard-
sense.
That billboard was a grant,
Correct.
to put that billboard up, so, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think what I'm saying is I think we should consult VDC first, and I think give it a little more time and it should come down, because the road's gonna be open soon. And we wanna make sure that people that come into town know our businesses are here, and not just one blanket statement.
I know she had a hard time with it when they first.
Well, I have a hard time with, I'm a newer version of Mr. Buzzard. I have a hard time with anybody just spending money.
Thank
You
God.
taught me well.
Thank God
Like,
for
you
that.
spent what?
Thank
And it
God.
was spent without a vote, so that was my house.
That,
Yes.
that's why I
Yeah.
had to inject that into
If there's no other public comments,
it. It's a
Yes.
question for Deb. No, it's not. Just because you're shaking your head. So the zoning hearing board meeting, that's this Thursday
this
at
Thursday,
7 o'clock?
it's 7 o'clock.
Thank you. And how about the other hearing is in October for the year?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Was this ever considered an emergency shelter? And if so, going into hurricane season, is it still? And I know we were talking about generator before.
I know.
How's everything stand going to
I'm on it.
the storm
It
season?
is an emergency center, also the fire department's building is an emergency center because when we were flooded a few times, we were separated. So, this is considered an emergency center, we used it back in 2018, I believe it was.
Mhm.
Warming station, charging, electronic devices, we had coffee, we had a place for people to come. I'm not sure where we are with the generator. I know that
I'm not
we got
sure,
a
but
grant.
we can find out, and the other thing is too,
Zach said he would look into the generator.
What's that, Alice?
Zach said he would look into the generator because we can't use critical
Okay.
yeah.
unless we bid. They're not
Okay.
gonna start. Okay.
That's one of the things I wanted to ask too. Wayne, Ian, and Jeff, you all flip a coin and figure out who can help us out on roads, building, and maintenance. We need a council member on that committee that can be present.
Well, he's busy.
So if someone can let me know if we can get a volunteer for roads, building, and maintenance, all one committee. Of course, I need someone, on council on that committee. So think about it, please, get
Okay.
back to me. Yes.
I'm not.
Zach is still on it. Of course, Harry's on it.
That's it?
That's it.
That's it?
Yeah, we need a council member around to be on it. Did somebody ask me something?
So, when do they have meetings?
Second Tuesday of the month at 7 p.m.
Second Tuesday at 7?
At 7,
Yeah.
yes.
But they're not having a meeting is it second Tuesday? Yeah.
At 7.
Zach's out of town, so.
I don't know if they're having one this
speaking about the generator, when are we ever gonna get a new emergency management coordinator?
When I can get through getting those brushes out of the park.
Oh, touche.
What?
Tammy was so nice to pass these things out. We were notified that Meals on Wheels is in need. So there's flyers and everything here. You can pick up, there's I think 8 different items here that they're badly need of. I can tell you this, last year I volunteered and took a route with a friend of mine. We actually had a great time. We met a lot of great people. That is a really nice organization over there. They've expanded. They've got a newer building. And it's a neat operation if you've never been. They could also use volunteers. All you have to do is go down and sign up. It's a really neat thing to do. But you can bring those things in here. We'll have a spot for them, and we'll make sure that they get down to Meals on Wheels. So it seemed like simple things: toilet paper, paper towels, deodorant, mouthwash, laundry detergent, cleaning supplies, first aid kits, and batteries, especially AA and AAA.
And we're collecting all month, we're picking up after Labor Day.
After the, yeah.
So please give us a hand with that. That helps everybody out in our county, not just in our community.
I wanna go back to the question about the emergency, being an emergency center. One of the things that I'm working really hard on, I started to create a capital improvement plan for Delaware Water Gap. Because we tend to fix things and patch them when they're broken. And this building, other than that power washing and spraying for ants, we do nothing for this building because we don't have money. We just got the roof fixed. It's a rubber roof, and we had to go through God knows how many people trying to find someone that can repair the roof. We've got to come up with solutions or a solution, some solutions on a manner other than grants to find funding. Now, the fact that this is an emergency station will help us in getting possibly grants to help do some things, but most grants will not help you repair or build municipal buildings. It's very hard to find the grants for that. So we're trying to think of ways, and the last thing on my list as the chair of the budget committee is raising taxes. But if you've lived here most of your life or any period of time, you know that little of nothing has been done here other than keeping the lights on and patching something when it falls down or falls off. We've got to figure out a way to find ways to improve the very building that we have to sit in. If anyone knows about the basement, it gets 2 inches of water when it rains, which means our foundation and walls are compromised because there's water and possibly mold. It's so hot outside. It's rained all week. It's hot outside. We probably got mold. The water's coming in from the base. The wall over here is broken. The electrical needs to be upgraded. Someone blessed us with 1 window unit air conditioner, and it's still a little warm in here. We have to, and you go to other municipalities and they have these beautiful centers and facilities and whatever. We have to find a way to get our infrastructure, other than just the roads, secure and fixed. So keep that in your minds. I'm looking for ways, other people, every time something comes up, we try to figure it out. But outside of having money, it's hard to do things. So we have to figure it out. People have done very good at maintaining this for a number of years, but we've got to do some serious, the electrical here is scary. When the water fell down, the alarm system went out, the ceiling fell in, the exit sign fell in, all these things, and then you patch it. We have to do something to make this building better. So keep that in mind, things that we're trying to figure out how to do it. We run this borough on the budget of a middle-class household. So keep that in mind when you're seeing things or you hear things that might be able to help us. I'll thank you for that.
So how about the infrastructure program? I mean, there's a lot of money in that, right? Is it Is there always a matching requirement?
In a lot of it, there's matching, there's a lot of infrastructure money, it's usually geared towards bigger municipalities and larger projects. Every time something is sent to me or to Allison, we pour through it to figure out if it's something for us that we can use. But for a small municipality like this, the one thing that I found that helps us is to look for things for rural, because we are considered rural. But when they put out these programs with these, it sounds massive amounts of money, they're looking for bigger projects, the kind of projects that, broadband and all these other things that are going on. We need the building fixed. So we have to, everyone needs to look at these grants, everyone needs to look at these programs along with the one or two people that are doing it and try and help us figure out a way.
I went to a meeting with Congressman Carter. He was telling me all about all this money that the state has.
Yeah, right.
Billions and billions of dollars. And I said, great, how do I get it? And it turns out that most of them are matching. So if you have a project that's $500,000, that's a 50% match. And that was what I was trying to explain to the congressman. You need to take a look at the smaller municipalities, not just Water Gap, but that needs to be taken into consideration. We'd love to take your money, but we cannot match.
I actually
that
heard
kind
there was legislature somewhere laying around that would accommodate smaller municipalities in the funding and grant process. Don't know where it is, don't know when it's gonna happen. But in the meantime, if you are looking at stuff and you're reading it, and if you're into research, please, yes, bring it forward to the borough, because we need it. We're trying to figure it out, and we're all doing this volunteer, I say part-time, not even part-time, it's like a full-time job for me, but suggestions are needed.
What about something like, and this is just like off the cuff, but you know how Habitat for Humanity will do single-family homes? I wonder if they would have any type of project or another organization such as that would, because this building would benefit the whole town. You know what I'm saying, not just one family.
But even in those projects, you gotta have the money. You gotta have the money for the materials, you gotta have money for certain things. I'd call IKEA if they would come here and fix something.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, I'll make calls to donate, get the materials
Yeah, I mean,
donated.
it's barely
Right after
700.
November, when all the prices go down,
But no
will be
one,
good.
I have not seen any situation where they will just come and give us what we need, so we have to figure it out.
I know some,
Alright, I'll
fairly
research that.
good big people at Lowe's. I'll talk with them.
Some of them have community programs, but we need more
Yeah.
than just us looking for these grants and things. And with that said, we gotta go into executive session. It's good to see you all. Thank you for coming. Thank you for participating.